So I don't know why I keep winding up doing these in the car. That was certainly not my intention, but I guess seems to be a quiet spot. Anyway, the first one was pretty quick. I knew directly what I wanted to give you just a little breakdown of how I started suffering with depression and anxiety, and I could pinpoint pretty basically. This one I'm finding a little bit more difficult. So what I wanted to kind of do is give you just some breakdown of stages when I feel oncoming depression. So I suffer with anxiety and I suffer with depression. So I've been monitoring myself and waiting for a day where I would feel this way so that I could kind of give you a blow by blow of what this entails for me. So mornings seem to be my worst for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I guess it's just the morning blues. I guess it's just the start of the day. No matter how much work I've done on myself, how positive I am, or how far I've come, mornings is still something that I really struggle with. And some days is much better than others, but morning is definitely like my Achilles heel. And the thing about that is part of me kind of feels like with all the progress I've made and how much better I am, I'll take being sad in the morning any day compared to that. So it's kind of like a win. I've realized that I know how to work through it with my tools. I can get past it pretty quickly for the most part. I hate having it, but if this is the residual, it's a very small amount of compared to where I used to live in my mind. So if this is it in my healing, this is the only scar, so to say, that I have, or the only thing that was still residual from my illness on my everyday life, so be it. So anyway, alarm goes off, always want to sleep, always exhausted. I think that just has to be, you work, you're a mom, you're tired, you're this, you're that. So, okay. I must hit that snooze button about 1,000 times. And I'm just, like I said, really tired in the morning. So I just don't want to get up. But then it's not just the normal tired and drained, probably don't eat right, and probably not the right vitamins and whatever. Most mornings when I'm suffering this, not to say that this happens most mornings, because most mornings I'm okay. If I have a tinge of depression, it is the slightest, minute minute. I can shut it off now, where I could not do that before. I mean, I can shut it off pretty quickly with the tools that I have. I could let it seep in if I wanted to, but I don't. So anyway, with that being said, on the mornings that I feel like that is not working and it's kind of holding with me, this is pretty much the breakdown. And this was kind of this morning, and it's now 2:17 in the afternoon. I'm about to pick up my daughter and then my son, the reverse today of the usual schedule. And today was a rough day. So what I first guess I feel is always here, right in my chest, right here. It's overwhelming. It feels like someone's crushing right here, like the bones are going to concave into each other in this way. It feels like it's collapsing, and as it's collapsing, it feels like possibly like air is going to escape out either side, because I'm getting a feeling of compression and like the weight of the world, and also I have this overwhelming feeling of like an empty, like I have to take a breath. Breathing, by the way, is my key tool, which you will see that I use it a lot when I'm having an anxious episode, which is even worse than my depression episodes. However, for the depression episode, I don't know, I guess they're more frequent. The anxiety seems to circle in a cycle. Anyway, I wake up, I get up, all I feel is dread. I feel alone in a house full of people that love me. I feel sad, an overwhelming sadness. I'm not even sure why. It's just like sad to be awake, sad to be alive, sad to breathe. The breathing is heavy, very pushed, very much like I have to force it, like it is not coming natural to me. Often in my mind, the only thing I can come up with is I feel null and void. Null and void. That's what I feel. So I get up, I get out of bed, and usually, like I said, these days I can turn this off with some tools that I will probably go into at another time. But basically, I now start to walk around and do what I have to do for the morning, and my body feels limp, and my arms feel like they're aching, and I just feel very like I'm closing in. So now, okay, we get everything together, kids get off to school, push myself through. I have a few moments before I have to go to work. I'm again by myself, and I kind of feel that dread again, which didn't really go away, but it kind of like I was just doing too much, so I couldn't really feel it. And the dread is there again, and I walk into work, and whatever's happening in work, usually I'm very positive, but when this happens, when I walk into work and people are laughing or talking, it's almost like I feel my pain so real that I almost feel like it's got to be physical. Like, how could you not see it? Because I can feel it in my hands, the ache. It feels like an arthritis, like my body is just cramping, and my ears ring, and I can kind of hear, like, it sounds like everything's just so noisy. I just need it to shut off. So anyway, come in, people smiling, talking. I take my seat at my desk. I start doing my work, and I'm quiet in it. And more than quiet, I'm kind of like angry. I start to get a little angry. Now, this does not happen every time. Sometimes just the depression and the sadness is there and the emptiness is there until I start going through my day and it just dissipates. But sometimes it turns to kind of like, why don't you see I'm hurting? Why don't you know I'm hurting? Which brings us to, of course, the fact that an illness like this cannot be seen. If I came in with a broken leg, I would get some attention and I would get some care and I would get the comfort that a human being needs when they're in pain. But because I don't have any of these physical things going on, I am in desperate pain. My body is riddled with it. I want to scream at the top of my lungs. I want to scream to be quiet to whatever's happening in my head. And I want to just scream for someone to just like encompass me or hold me, or I don't even know. So I sit there and I start getting angry, and I kind of want to be like, fuck you to everyone who talks around me. I'm just like, fuck you. Like, fuck you, because what is the point? Because I'm like, fuck everything right now. Now, in the meantime, I'm very positive and happy with life. And this is not where I used to be when I was depressed and I wanted to actually kill myself. That's a whole another kind of thing. Because this fuck you is I just want to go to sleep or shut it off or not have to do it or not have to feel this. What I used to have was way different. Like, I wanted to leave this planet. This is almost like I just want to shut down for a minute, maybe. And again, as the day goes on, I am able to turn it around because I've worked on this. And like I said, usually I can turn it around within minutes. So I have really come a long way. But what I feel in that moment and that emptiness, and again, it's like now 2:23 in the afternoon, and I'm going to get out of this car, I'm going to pick up my daughter, and I'm going to be cheery and happy, not because I'm forcing it like I used to get through things, but because I am cheery and happy. But my body physically feels not okay today. There's no other way to put it. Yes, when I get sad like this, I know there's a factor of my mother not being here that makes me feel alone. Before my mother was gone, I still had this issue, but I know my mother compacts it now a little bit. It was different before. Also, it was more severe before because I was really in my depression. I could go into a depression for days that would be like this. So that's where the difference lies. And it would just get darker and darker. And there would be thoughts of, what I would do to relieve my situation, whether it be get in a bathtub and let the water run until I couldn't breathe. All these thoughts just to kind of get out of my own skin. So today, not a good morning. I didn't turn it off as well as I would have liked. Again, very thankful that this doesn't happen often. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I think that's the point of what I'm explaining to you. I am okay. But when it hits me, it feels like a compression of bricks have hit my chest and my bones are just shattering underneath. And for anyone else who has felt this, we have to help each other and we have to push on. Pull everything back in. Manifest and see your body parts coming back together even though they're shattered in a billion pieces. That's the only advice I have. Because otherwise, it will just overtake you and your body will be riddled. That's it.